But great builders build for the next generation. What is going to be the contribution to your family? And what contribution will you have to society? Yeah, you can impact some families if you make some sales, but you can impact a generation when you build it big. Right? So, I just want to share with you, I'm not going to go into detail, but I actually want to share with you actual incentive from WFG when you build. So that you can see, I want to wrap up this whole thing this morning, or that we learned for the last 1.5 days. You learn how to recruit, you learn how to sell, now you build, but what is the benefit of building outside of just making money? Okay? So the first one is when you become an MD. And man, WSB, you just need to do 945 in 5 months, right? So you can do it personal on your own. That's why we have people, some people become MD in 1 month. Some people become MD in 3 months. Virginia, most people less than 6 months into a company and they get vested. In your corporate, that job, most of you have to work for years before you get vested. In WSB, you can get vested as fast as you want. Because if you decide to do 945 in a week, you get vested. You decide to do 945 in 30 days, you get vested, right? So what does it mean vesting? Okay, this is a screenshot from the brochure, and it will share you right here. MD as a qualified marketing director or higher with WFG Insurance Agency and WFG Insurance Agency Canada. So both countries, US and Canada, you immediately qualify for vesting. Your heirs also will receive this vesting option after your death, pursuant to your current estate planning documents or current estate law. Okay, and then if you qualify for selling or transfer, I'm going to talk about that next. Okay, but you have to qualify for that. But before qualifying, just by becoming an MD, you get vested. In case you don't know what vesting means because our financial products have something called renewals and trails. Let me ask you a question. When you buy life insurance, how long do you keep it for? For life. So every year, our clients will put premium into the policy. Is that correct? What about retirement plans? How long do you keep it for? Until at least until you retire, which is usually 65 or 60, 65 years old. Is that correct? Right? When we talk about your investments, do we talk about only 6 months investment, 1 year investments? No. Usually you invest with our education, you understand dollar cost averaging, you invest for 10, 20 years to come. But you sell a pair of shoes, they only buy it one time. You sell a home, they only buy it one time. You sell food at a restaurant, they eat it and it already come out the toilet the next day, right? But with vesting, what you need to understand is that our product, you stay in this business, first of all, you gotta stay long enough, but also you have to have enough clients you get vested, but eventually it could become like about 10, 15% of your income. So as an example, if you make $1 million, already 100,000, by the time you make $1 million, most likely $1 million already come from vesting. I mean 100,000 come from vesting. Right? So that means you close your eye, even you don't even make one more sale or no new override in the next year, you have a minimum 100,000 from all the businesses. That's powerful. You get that at MD. Okay. So the next thing you get at MD, they just announced this last week. You start to participate in stock options. Okay? In Aegon stock. So there's minimum qualifications. I'm not going to go through it right now. But the main concept is the harder you work, the more you get rewarded. Right? So remember, WFG, WSB, you can make as little or as much as you want, but when you work harder, WFG gives you more incentive. So when you become MD level, you can participate in our stock-based cash reward program, right? You base off your annual cash flow, then you get vested, or I mean, you get locked, you can qualify, and then 3 years later, they will pay you out. And you can qualify for that every single year. So for whatever reason you get promoted next year, you stay an MD, as long as you do the same cash flow, 50,000, you get another $750, et cetera, okay? So, MD, you get vesting and stock. When you become SMD, you get both of these, it's tied in, okay? But now, what you qualify for when you're an SMD, automatically, no minimum production required, just the minute you become SMD, you qualify for what we call the spousal beneficiary designation. Okay? Which means that if something happens to you, in a very, very bad disability or in death, your code will be passed to your spouse. As long as you fill out this form, you submit it, your spouse is licensed by the time when you submit this form. So hey, let's say for example, Michael Lyle, he never, let's just pretend Regina's not in the business. And after he passed away, she's like, oh, oops, I see there's a very good cash flow. I'm gonna get licensed now. Then no, you don't qualify. So that's why it's very important, involve your spouse in the business. They don't have to be the main builder, but get them to go to meeting with you. Get them to get licensed. But if you're an SMD and your spouse is licensed and in the business or in WFG right now, submit this form, and now anything happens to you, your code will be passed on to your spouse. Is that another way to create a peace of mind for your family? Right? It's very powerful. So that is automatic. When you become SMD above, you qualify for spousal beneficiary reform. Okay? So imagine, how many other business out there that you have to deal with. It's not just automatic. Sometimes you have to deal with partners. You have to buy them out, or official documents on titles that you have to exchange, and you have to do a lot of lawyer things. Here with WFG, just this one simple form, and as SMD, pass on to your spouse, right? And one last one that I'm going to go over today is that when you build it a little bit bigger than SMD, okay, you have to be an SMD with a few SMDs under you and a minimum point requirement, but then you qualify for the Heritage Program. So you want to be able to this is for the bigger builders that want to pass on potentially to your next generation. Okay? So first of all, why do we require that you have to build something to pass it on? Well, there has to be something to pass on. Paul, I know you have your son here, and what if you only have 2 licenses? What is there to pass? Yeah, I don't think your son wants that anyways. Does that make sense? Okay? So, it's not automatic at SMD level, but at SMD you can work, and you start building your way to qualify for the Heritage Program. Okay? When you have 3 direct SMD and point requirement, you can qualify to pick your next generation. But let me tell you something. They gotta earn it. Okay? WFG code number is not an annuity. We sell annuities. Our code number is not an annuity. So Shirley, I know you make good income right now, and you probably would love for your 3 kids to take over this business, but they gotta earn it and they gotta want it too. It's not something that you just give to them because you say, hey, you gotta take it, if not we're gonna lose it as a family. First, for why I mentioned this, number one, first of all, you gotta build something to pass on, so that's why you have to qualify, you have to build something big enough. But number 2, Shirley, when we get something that we don't earn, that means we don't care about it. Does that make sense? And when we don't care about it, that means we're not going to take care of it. And the first thing you got to think of is, most of us, when we think about pass to our family, we think about our family only. But we have to think about all the team and the downline that have been working and building alongside with us. Right? So Jen, I know your son is going to be a great medical doctor, for example. But if he cannot spell the word recruit, he should not take over. But hey, if he decides to join, get licensed, attend meeting, and work his way, we don't even require him to be EVC like you. We don't require him to be millionaire like you. In fact, he just got to show some basic skill, like become EMD, and then he can take over your business. Is that powerful? Hey, I think we got to use our common sense here. No law office can just pass on to their kids if they're not a lawyer. A dentist cannot pass on their practice if they're not a licensed dentist. So we got to be fair to the WFG too. If your kid doesn't want to be in the business, then we make a lot of money and buy an annuity and pass that on to them instead. Or buy a big life insurance and pass that on, right? But WFG is a proper business that you pick the right person in your family. And I hope you feel from me, that is why every day I fight to earn my spot. I don't feel like I deserve it. I don't feel like I am entitled to my dad's business. I fight every day, whether it's making sure to plan all the events for you, making sure to answer every phone call, every email, make sure to take care of every compliance issue, every home office issue, make sure product provider relationships are good to take care of you. I try to work my best so that I earn my spot, and then whenever it's my time to take over this business and take over WSB. And I would gladly love to work with all your kids when they earn their spot too. Is that a deal? Okay? So,
Alicia,
we talked about this
Alicia.
morning. Oh,
okay.
yes, sir.
I just want to add on a little bit on the heritage program. You know, let's say for me, let's say you're not interested in this and you want to become an anchor woman like you did. And Nick and Justin, my 3 kids, nobody want to do this thing. And then I give to one of my kids. Is that fair for you guys? No, you don't want it, right? But the heritage program, because for people like me who work hard and get to a certain level, then you can qualify, including the SMD, not just me, but many of you can sell it. You can
Correct.
sell it. For my case, if I know my kid, none of them are capable to run the team, then I can sell it, right? So, so like all of you have that option. So, because
You can sell to another builder.
yeah. So it's not that we don't think about. We think about, hey, you know what? To be fair for the people who, the coach is a group of men and women under you. So it's not a transaction. It's just like a chair, a table, account.